Do you feel like intentions and goals that you set easily fall by the wayside? I mean, you go into them having these really great expectations, and then all of a sudden, maybe a few days, a few weeks, a few months down the road, it's like they were a distant memory and you don't even remember them anymore, or you remember them, but you just kind of let them fall by the wayside. You aren't alone. It is so common, especially this time of the year when there is new year intentions or new intentions in general that are being put out. Welcome to the Energy Fix, a place where we talk about all things health and wellness from the place that everything is energy. And balancing your energy can bring you a totally fulfilling life. Today, we're going to talk about 7 steps to make your habits finally stick. Habits and intentions can be really frustrating when you feel like you have been trying so hard and nothing seems to work for you to maybe stick with them or for you to truly be successful. Yeah, of course, we do stick to some goals and we stick to some of our intentions, but a lot of times when they are harder and they are a little bit more effort requiring, it's easy for them to fall away. Why? Well, a lot of it has to do with your brain rewiring. Brain rewiring is so important if you are trying to finally change and stick in some healthy habit formation. Brain rewiring can happen from a meditational place or can happen from a physical place where you set your environment up to help you be more successful. It's about carving out new neural pathways in the brain so that you can finally start to change and carve and make a new groove and indentation to make different choices and create different habits than what you were used to doing in the past. Today, I'm going to tell you 7 things you can do to start making your habits more sticky and to also help you to start to rewire the brain just enough so that you can set those intentions and feel confident that you're going to stick with them. Step number 1. I talk about this one all the time, but you need to know your core values. These are your non-negotiables. They're the parts of your life that bring you joy and happiness. And when you know those core values, you can create dreams that revolve all around them. Life can turn into like this real honey sweet kind of a life. And your dreams, your goals, and intentions, they all start to become sticky. So the first place is to create a list of 3 to 5 core values and see how you can start to set visions to enhance them each and every day. So for example, if one of your core values is more adventure and travel, then making skydiving, for example, is a perfect goal because you want more adventure and travel in your life anyway. It just makes it easier. Core values and knowing what they are really sets you up for a place of full success. Step number 2 is creating a ritual. So some call it a routine, but routines can be kind of boring and they can start to get into a feel of drab, low creativity, and they can actually start to bring your energy down if you are too attached into those routines. So something that's more of a ritual can be a really excellent start. Rituals can be a little bit more forgiving. They can change and be a little bit more flexible. Routines feel very stagnant and feel very boxed in. All right. So A ritual will not only respect you, but it also takes the guesswork out of what it is you're trying to get done and what you're trying to move towards. So, for example, if you wanted to eat healthier, then pack a lunch the night before so that you don't have to focus on doing it in the morning. But this time, when you pack your lunch the night before, you can actually focus on what you want to do to honor your body and what it feels like that you really want to have so that it's already packed and ready to go, and you don't have to try to think about it on a empty stomach, low caffeine kind of a brain first thing in the morning, right? So creating that ritual is a great place for you to start to finally bring those habits in. And another little tip that kind of goes along with that is I like to create rituals that are actually stacked on other rituals or other things that you're already doing. So making it totally easy for yourself. If you want to pack your lunch at night, a great time to do that would be right after you're done cleaning up for dinner. So if you know that you cook dinner, you're going to do the dishes, or you're going to put away the leftovers, a great time for you to pack that lunch is while you're already in the kitchen, already in the refrigerator, and have everything out and ready to go. Step number 3, and I talk about this one all the time too because it is that important, but knowing your boundaries and using them. So most of us think that we actually set boundaries, but the reality is most of us have a pretty low boundary world. And when you set really strong boundaries, or you set them that they are in alignment with your core values, you're going to start to find out that you are less likely to be pulled away from the boundaries and away from your core values and away from the things that you're trying to move towards, trying to attain, much easier, right? So, for example, let's go back to the eating healthy example. So if you know that you want to eat healthier and you want to start packing your lunch, having that boundary that you are going to pack your lunch in the evening so that it is ready to go for the next day, and knowing that that aligns up with your core value of stronger, healthier body, then you are totally in alignment, and you are going to bring that into a place of being able to make it more sticky, right? Okay. So step number 4, talk to yourself. Positive mantras are so powerful. And I'm not talking about just the very floaty, super positive kind of trick my brain into thinking more positively, even though I may not be feeling it deep inside. I'm talking about positive mantras that help you to shift your mindset more instantly so that you can bring more focus and clarity, and you can also start to silence that inner voice that speaks more from emotion than from rational thinking. What's the difference? You're probably wondering what that difference is. The difference is the way that you say it and the way that you feel it when you say it. So, for example, you could say, "My willpower is strong." Well, if you don't feel like your willpower is strong, it probably isn't going to feel very true, right? So changing that to something like, "My willpower is getting stronger and stronger every single day." Now that feels more possible, more in alignment, and it's also starting to rewire the brain, make new neural pathway grooves, so that you are better able to start to believe that you actually do have willpower that is growing. So creating these positive mantras, you can do one or you can do two. I usually suggest doing like a 3 to 5 sentence string so that you are starting to make it more of like a powerful paragraph rather than just these random blanket statements, right? It feels more powerful that way. But creating a positive mantra paragraph of 3 to 5 sentences and then repeating them out loud to yourself every single day. At first, you want to really totally inundate your brain. So I would actually recommend starting out with at least 5, if not 10 times a day, saying it out loud. And if you feel like saying it out loud gets a little tricky because maybe, you're still learning and you're forgetting what some of them are and you're trying to get into this groove, you can record it onto your phone and have the audio playing while you're driving to work or while you're making breakfast or even while you're taking a shower. The words we speak to ourselves are so incredibly powerful when it comes to rewiring the brain and to making our habits become more sticky because we start to believe what we say and think about our possibilities and our capabilities. Step number 5 is pull in the trigger word. So trigger words can be a really fun little tool to help you completely rein in your runaway thoughts. So as your mind may start to get off track, or maybe you are starting to do old habits that is pulling you away from the healthy habit that you're trying to step into, you could pull a trigger word like dedicated, or something even more simple like stop. I see you. Calling yourself out, making yourself become more aware. That trigger word is enough for you to stop yourself in the moment and literally have your brain recognize what's going on so that you can make a different choice. You can change it around and choose a different path. One of the reasons it can be really hard for us to stick to habits that we are just newly forming is because our brains are so wired in to reacting in a certain way. In the beginning especially, we need to stop the brain from being on that runaway train and actually rein it back in and choose a different direction. That's what trigger words do. And that's why they can be so powerful. If you've ever read or have ever heard about Mel Robbins' book, The 5-Second Rule, that is such a great example of how and why this is so powerful. Step number 6, it actually goes right into what I was just saying about the Mel Robbins book. It is doing a countdown and taking action. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. The mind can play all kinds of tricks on you, especially when you're trying to change and make new habits. And sometimes you just need a simple mental interruption to take your focus away. The trigger word works really great for that. You can actually use your trigger word with this in conjunction. Instead of the word go, you can use the trigger word here. But it's about changing it up, getting your brain to make a different choice. Now, I love the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go step, especially when you are trying to do something that you're aware of, but you're having a really hard time stepping into. So for example, if you want to get up early to maybe get a workout in, that's going to be your new workout time, but you are not technically a morning person, so getting out of bed's a little bit more challenging for you. This is a great step because as you lay there in bed and you do the countdown method, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And on that go, you force your body to get up out of bed. It sounds so simple and so easy, but it is so powerful in the way that it helps to reroute your brain to think and respond in a completely different way than what you're used to. And the more that you do it, the more that your brain starts to create these new neural pathways, and it's not as hard anymore. And that leads me to step number 7. And this is probably one of the most important, but one that gets so overlooked all the time. And that is reevaluating. Sometimes you just got to step away and you have to reevaluate if what you're working on is working for you. It is really easy to stick with something that you think that you want to do or that you think somebody else wants you to do, just to discover that you don't really care anymore. It doesn't even motivate you. It doesn't line up to your new priorities, or it actually doesn't even line up to your core values. Or maybe it doesn't fit into your life anymore. And that's okay. But what's important is that you're spending your life working towards the things that you really want to work towards. And reevaluating, stepping back, taking a look at the big picture is going to be a great way for you to step into that periodically, regularly, and really seeing if what you're doing is serving you instead of you just trying to cross it off your list. Reevaluate regularly. It helps to keep you stay more motivated, and it actually helps to give you permission to keep pushing towards something that you actually want. If you liked what you heard and you found value out of this, hit the subscribe button down below. And I would love to hear any comments you have about what you're working on, how you're moving forward, how you're making your habits sticky, and how you are creating a life of change. Remember, everything is energy. And when we can learn how to master that a little bit more for you, you are going to find that life becomes super sweet.